This ordinary person, special services that will never be enjoyed in a lifetime. Ben Kingsley to survive, he actually spent $1 billion to send himself to heaven. However, as the machine stopped rotating, he didn't die. Instead, he became a man who looked like a dead man. Wait for him to look away. And I found out, the former self has long since become a fresh corpse. He couldn't believe it. The transfer of consciousness really brought myself back to life. Ben Kingsley, he's a world-renowned billionaire. He should have enjoyed the rest of his life. Unexpectedly, I encountered the most painful thing in my life. That is, people die and the money is not spent. Because he had just been diagnosed with a terminal illness. You only have half a year to live. No matter how much money he has, it's useless at this point. Just when he was at a loss, his good friend brought him a glimmer of hope. He was recommended to a secret biology company. They are dedicated to solving the troubles of the rich. That is to put the consciousness of the rich into a clone, to achieve the goal of immortality. But after successful resurrection, he will no longer have his original identity and appearance. This means he will bid farewell to his original life completely. Live your life as a new person. Right now Ben Kingsley just wants to live, so he handed over a fee of $1 billion without hesitation. The next second he fainted in plain sight. It wasn't until he was pushed into the ambulance that he found out. All healthcare workers are from biological companies. Arrive at the laboratory. Ben Kingsley was told he couldn't have any metal equipment on him. Once the surgery begins, it will be irreversible. Ben Kingsley is long gone. Gave Matthew Goode a positive response. Just like this, after a dazzling light, he successfully switched to a brand new body. At first he was still very resistant to the new body. How can you survive a month of exercise? Ben Kingsley has been cleared. The bottom has adapted to the body of this macho man. But occasionally, there are some strange hallucinations. Matthew Goode told him it was just a normal reaction. As long as you take your medicine on time, you'll gradually get better. The reborn Ben Kingsley naturally didn't take it to heart. After seeing the death statement issued by her daughter, he's completely gone. Matthew Goode gave him a new identity. It's equipped with luxury cars and villas, but that's not what he wanted. Now the first thing he has to do, just feel the happiness of a macho man.
Are you okay?
Yeah, boy.
Even if you exercise 24 hours a day, it didn't make him tired at all. And so he was enjoying himself, the joy of being reborn. But it didn't last. He was just about to take his medicine today. I was pulled by my girlfriend to exercise, wait for him to recover. But suddenly a splitting headache. He quickly took out the medicine. I fainted before I put it in my mouth. At this moment in his mind, a scene of a mother and daughter and war emerges. This memory is so real. It's like having personal experience. In a panic, Ben Kingsley quickly found Matthew Goode, but the other party told me it was just an illusion. The latent beautiful woman in his dream is just his imagination. But Ben Kingsley never revealed that the woman was latent. This made him realize, I am being shrouded in a huge conspiracy. So I went home. According to your dreams, he found a small town. Soon he found this place according to the coordinates. There is a log cabin next to the water tower. Ben Kingsley walked in curiously. What he never dreamed of was, there is a family photo of their family hanging on the wall. This stunned Ben Kingsley in the confusion, and he realized it wasn't a clone. It's a human being. He not only has a lovely daughter, I am still a soldier. Just then, a woman with a gun suddenly appeared behind him. Ben Kingsley is terminally ill, but he's going to use $1 billion knife to keep himself alive for another 50 years. He's in a high-speed rotating instrument, with flashes of white light. His consciousness successfully transferred into the young man's body. However, what he didn't expect was, behind this heaven-defying superpower, there is a huge conspiracy hidden. Because this body came from a living human being. Original Ben Kingsley, who has changed his body, always dreams of strange scenes, until he found the host's home based on the dream. Then I realized that I had been deceived by the biological company. Women can't believe it either. The dead husband came back to life. In the panic of the two, there was a sudden knock on the door. Didn't wait for Ben Kingsley to come to his senses. Several men have broken into the door. Control them in minutes. This moment, Ben Kingsley learned the whole truth about this body. Turns out this corpse-like body is named Ryan Reynolds. To raise money to treat my daughter, he voluntarily sold his body to a biotechnology company, but his memory wasn't all wiped out. So Ben Kingsley, who changed his body, will regain his memory. Then someone at the company told Ben Kingsley not to delve into it. They will handle the rest. But this is it. Ben Kingsley knew that neither he nor his wife and daughter would end well. So take advantage of the gap between taking medicine. He has a neat set of operations. Instantly brought down a subordinate. It was then that he remembered that Ryan Reynolds was a special forces veteran. Colleagues outside the house also heard the sound, but he is no match for Ben Kingsley at all. Soon they were cleared out of the house. The exasperated killer tried to burn Ben Kingsley alive. Fortunately, He knows the terrain of his home. After escaping to the basement, he shot the killer in the thigh. As a result, the flames instantly burned Derek Luke. Then another bullet took out the reinforcements. In this way, the couple finally escaped. Ben Kingsley, who regained his memory at this time, I can't bear to tell the truth to my wife, had to play the role of her husband, pick up their daughter from school together. When my daughter sees him, happy to pounce on himself. This scene awakens the love buried deep in Ben Kingsley's heart. For the safety of my wife and daughter, just put them in a hotel first. And then I went online, and I searched for information about consciousness transfer. Unexpectedly, a video caught his attention. The doctor in the video, as an expert in the field of consciousness transfer, his subconscious movements, actually with the head of the biological company, Matthew Goode, is exactly the same. This made Ben Kingsley understand everything in an instant. To validate my conjecture, he found the doctor's wife, but the 80-year-old lady has Alzheimer's disease. Fortunately, he said a string of phone numbers. This success allowed Ben Kingsley to trick Matthew Goode. Now he no longer hides his identity. Admit that you are a doctor. When Ben Kingsley asked him for his medication, only to learn an astonishing truth. The effect of drugs is not to eliminate hallucinations. It is to completely obliterate the original consciousness of the host. Once the medication lasts for a year, Ben Kingsley really got this body. With a grain of salt, he blackmailed the doctor into the lab. Unexpectedly, I was seen by the security guard as soon as I went out. The backhand pointed the gun at Ben Kingsley. Just then, the hallucinations reappeared. Just as the wife arrived, Ben Kingsley quickly took out several of his men. He thought he had been rescued. Unexpectedly, he was strangled by a killer. Fortunately, the wife shot the killer. The two escaped. On the way, Ben Kingsley mustered the courage to tell his wife the truth. The wife of the truth was frightened on the spot. To atone for the crimes committed, Ben Kingsley had to turn to his former partner. Human experimentation condemned around the world. As long as you have money, you can put your own consciousness teleported to a young body. Ben Kingsley used 1 billion knife. Successfully make yourself the groom every night. And his friend's son received the same treatment as him. But Ben Kingsley wasn't happy for his friend, because he knows there is a huge conspiracy behind this experiment, and that is that boys don't come from cloning. It's someone else's abducted child. The friend who knew the truth was stunned. That's when he realized he had been deceived by a biotech company. At this point, the killers in the lab caught up again. Friend first let Ben Kingsley be the bait to attract the killer. He ran away from the other side with Ben Kingsley's wife and daughter. Facing the attack of the killer, Ben Kingsley has a nice flick, sent the killers directly to the west. However, his wife and daughter were not so lucky. Kidnapped soon after, just as he was discussing countermeasures with his friends. Ben Kingsley is hallucinating again, but this time he stopped taking the medicine, but through memory fragments, find the location of the laboratory. After a painful struggle, Ben Kingsley successfully locked down the lab's location. Soon he successfully sneaked into the inside of the laboratory. However, when he saw the dying killer, then I realized I had fallen for Matthew Goode's trap. In the blink of an eye, I'm already surrounded. Matthew Goode. Naturally, Ben Kingsley's quality body cannot be wasted. That's all. He was forcibly pressed into the consciousness converter. As the machine stops running, Ben Kingsley came back to life. Matthew Goode couldn't wait to see if the experiment was successful. Ben Kingsley gave him a positive response. Wait until he takes advantage of the killer's identity. When I find out the whereabouts of my wife and daughter, that's when Matthew Goode realized something was wrong. It turned out that a bullet had been secretly inserted into the machine. He knew he had been fooled, but it's too late. Ben Kingsley had already rescued his wife and daughter. Wait for him to come to the control room. Matthew Goode says only he knows the formula for the drug. Once you are killed, then Ben Kingsley will be buried with him. And just when he was feeling good about it, Ben Kingsley actually recited the formula for the drug backwards. Didn't wait for Matthew Goode to come to his senses. 300 degrees below zero has burned through the glass of the laboratory. Matthew Goode was a fresh corpse on the spot. Ben Kingsley successfully rescued his wife and daughter and sent them to an island worth 800 million. And he himself chose to stay, because he has a decision to make. When he wakes up, Ryan Reynolds was stunned on the spot. He clicked on the video to know the truth of it all. It turns out that rich Ben Kingsley knows how selfish it is to use someone else's body to achieve immortality. He gave up his superpowers. Give the body back to Ryan Reynolds completely. Just follow the address he left. The Ryan Reynolds family is finally reunited on an island. From then on, he lived a happy life without shame. The movie ends here. So here's the problem. If you are rich Ben Kingsley, are you willing to achieve immortality in this way?